Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have read and enjoyed. My guest for this week is Sona Sharma, who's not only an author but she is also a doctor, and I am going to talk to her about her book Mandeep Meets Mandeep. It's a medical fiction that I enjoyed reading, and we are going to talk about not only this book but also about her other books and also, of course, about her profession as a doctor. So, do stay tuned, it's going to be a really interesting episode. I'm waiting for her to join me. Just hang on for a few more minutes before we start the episode. Okay, she is here. I am just going to invite her and start the episode. I can see her. I have also accepted your invitation, Sona. Generally, it takes one or two attempts to for you to be able to accept my request and join in the live and share the screen with me. That's an Instagram glitch and it happens every week with me, so please bear with us for a few more minutes. Meanwhile, let us also wait for a few people to join us. I am sending you a fresh request, Sona. See if you can accept that. Um, yes, I see you here, and I've sent you an invitation. Did you receive it? Let me know. Hi,
Yeah,
welcome.
here we are.
It
Nice to connect.
worked. Hi. So nice to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very happy to
Thank you
have
so
you
much.
as a guest.
Thank you.
Yes. So it's a glitch. Generally, it takes two, three attempts for me to send the invitation and for the guest to be able to accept and actually start share the screen with me. So
Sure,
yeah,
sure. It's lovely joining this live session with you. I'm looking forward to speak with you
same here.
about
Same
your
here.
own book also.
Before we begin, I just want you to introduce yourself to the audience in brief.
Okay. Nothing much. Imagine how it is. so,
I can
um,
only imagine.
As an author, I think it was more by chance than by anything else because both my books came out of a very serious urge to write about those subjects. The first one is about the lost city, and that's completely a different genre from what I normally read. Also, so that's the first one, and the second one, Mandeep Meets Mandeep, also came about. When I was not thinking of writing, but it came about all of a sudden, and I'll talk about it maybe later, but that also happened by chance. And I'm so glad I wrote both the books, and I got to meet so many authors as a part of this venture, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and we as readers of your books are also grateful and thankful that you not only took the chance but also saw it through and the books came about
Yeah.
because they are the one that I've read only one book of yours so far, Mandeep Meets Mandeep, and we are going to talk about it in detail. But yeah, I'm so happy that you took the decision to write that particular book because I have read very few medical fiction. It's a medical fiction book, and I have read very few books in that subgenre. But the ones that I have read, they none of them. I mean, they have been. One has been a rom com. Another one that I read was about relationships, but none of them have brought focus into important topics. Like you have talked about not only our actions, being actions and the choices that we make, how it impacts the overall environment that we live in, but also the
Yeah,
choices that we make, how that one little choice without any harm to us can save someone's life. So
yeah,
I absolutely loved how the two Mandeeps come together and change each other's lives. That's
that's
absolutely, oh.
perfectly summarized. I must say, perfectly summarized.
So yeah, I loved it. It was not only eye opening but also inspiring that you can do so much by doing so little.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It was
uh,
an eye opener for me also when I started writing. Of course, we'll talk about that maybe in some time.
before we go into further details, I just want to show the audience the book cover first. So this is the book cover, Mandeep Meets Mandeep, and we can see that the two faces are getting connected somehow, and you will see what it symbolism is when you read the book. I am going to read out a few passages from the book first. So this is from the first chapter itself. The chapter is titled When They Met. Bengaluru, formerly Bangalore, February 2023. He looked like the very definition of ordinary. You would not give him a second look if you saw him at one of the malls or upmarket restaurants in Bengaluru. He was just one of those nondescript faces in the melting pot of Bengaluru's tech community. But today he was a star. The star. He knew it. He felt it. He knew there were cameras trained on him, press and people waiting outside. And here he was, sitting in the coffee shop, alone, facing the wall. But a few meters away, Mandeep was walking towards the coffee shop. He looked at the imposing, luxurious property. It was his first time at a five-star hotel, and he was already feeling on top of the world. As he walked past the manicured hedges and its magnificent facade, he couldn't put peer into one of the he couldn't but peer into one of the mirrored window panes. The impulse to adjust his hair was uncontrollable. He knew now what a head full of dark, dense, and fashionably styled hair meant. He adjusted his new dark glasses. It made him seem confident somehow. And when he was ushered into the hotel's coffee shop, the excitement was almost palpable. This was a first too. But then he was not here for coffee or cupcakes. He was here to meet someone. He could hear his own thudding heart. He was sure others did too. Walking up to the person he was here to meet evoked feelings he had never imagined. This was a stranger who had existed only in his imagination until that time. He didn't know who he was, what he looked like, what he did for a living, or how old he was. But he was the most important person in his life. Things had been set into motion a couple of months back. He couldn't bear the wait any longer. Mandeep was grateful when that phone call finally came. Everything was made to happen in a matter of days. Calls were made, packing was done, flights were booked, and here he was. The lone occupant of the coffee shop sat on a chair facing the other way. Mandeep walked up hesitantly and touched his shoulder, unsure about how they would both react. The stranger turned. Hi, I'm Mandeep. That's all he said. No other words were needed, nor any explanation or gestures. Nothing could convey what he was feeling. Emotion spilled into his eyes as he hugged him tight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was all he could say, and not surprisingly, that was enough. It was a few minutes before he let the stranger go. And that is how Mandeep met Mandeep.
Oh, yeah. And just a snippet of info. It actually happened exactly in the same way. In fact, there is a video of this whole thing happening, and if you search the net, you will see how Mandeep walked and how he touched his shoulder, and that's how both of them described it also. to me. And then I saw the videos, and this scene is so captivating. It sits in your head, and that's why I decided to write it as is. I mean, without any embellishments.
Okay, so now that you have mentioned it, I am very interested in seeing this in actual, playing out scenario on a video format. I will definitely check out this first meeting in a video form because the way you have explained this, I was already imagining it. Now I want to see how it actually happened. So that would be interesting. Okay, so based on my eye reading, I want to ask you a couple of questions if you
Sure,
are ready to answer them.
sure, sure.
So my first question to you is, writing a medical fiction like this, in this is a subgenre, even
Mm.
subgenre, I would say,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a very niche genre, and writing in this genre, it's not only challenging as a writer, but it is also very risky. You don't know how it will be
yeah,
accepted, whether it will be accepted or not. So
yeah.
tell us about how this journey was for you.
Yeah. So about the acceptance, I think more than anything, I just wanted to write about it for myself initially. I did not think about acceptance at all at that point. Of course, it's a tricky task. And the first rule for myself when I started the book was that, I have to control my urge to be technical
Yeah.
because,
So, that's what I
the,
wanted to actually be specific
yeah,
about in my question. That how do you ensure
yeah,
that you are not technical and not
yeah,
in with a story like this where you are talking
yeah.
about a chronic
It will,
disease?
yeah,
How
it's
do
not
you not
likely to
be
connect.
cheesy also?
Yeah, because I wanted the book to be way beyond the definition of a pure medical thriller. First and foremost, this book is about the heartwarming story of two individuals and their battles and their resilience and their victory. So it's about the two people and not about the medical part of it. So
Hmm.
that's how I envisioned the book first of all. And also, it underlines the role of destiny,
Yeah.
in throwing these two, very different people together. So, more than the medical thriller part, I wanted the book to be about this story of
Hmm.
two people, who are completely different. You can't expect them to have ever met anywhere. So, one is
Hmm.
a farmer, huh? He lives in a small village, and the other one is a techie who lives in, a
Brilliant.
large city. And, their hopes, their aspirations, their lifestyle, their social setting, everything is completely the opposite. So they're not, they cannot be envisioned in a single realm at all.
Hmm.
But both are battling their own demons, and there were only two things in common. One was their name, and the other was their genetic code. So that's how I wanted the story to develop, and not like the pain and I'm not somebody who enjoys tragic stories and tragic endings. So, I wanted this to be a story of two people who, managed to survive and, survive magnificently at the end of the day. So today, if you see, both of them have become, they are not just Mandeeps now. They are, in fact, I can show you something. They are the poster boys of the
Oh
cause.
wow!
They're, they've
Wow,
been
that's
featured
so
in
wonderful.
magazines. Yeah, so they've been featured in magazines where the cause of giving hope to people who are battling CML, and of blood stem cell donation itself. Both of them, in their own way, they were brought together for them to spread this message to other people, and in that way save a life or two. And even if one life is saved, their cause is served. That's what I think.
Yeah. Wonderful. And I loved how you answered the bit I asked about technical details. You said focusing on the character and the character story can, reduce the aspect of, the technicalities or people
Right.
getting, probably not understanding or getting bored because of the technicalities. I love that.
Yes.
That's a very helpful tip. And,
I I hope I was able to do justice to it in the book, because that was the intent.
yes, you were. And another thing that I actually liked was that Yes, of course, we come to know about stem cell and about CML a lot through the stories of both the Mandeeps. But we also come to know about what has led to the CML, the
Yeah.
environment.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's another.
Yes. So I love that also. And in fact, while you are doing that, also, I liked how you are being very like, you are dishing out facts and you are also being opinionated without being preachy.
Mhm.
That's a line,
Yeah, that was a fine
serious
line
authors.
to, yes.
Yeah.
That was a very fine line. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that brings me to my next question because the story is inspired by true events. So I want to know, can you take us through the process of reaching out and talking to the relevant people and parties and everything else?
Oh, that was also a very interesting story because it all started with a newspaper article, and I was just skimming through the newspaper where a small piece about Mandeep and Mandeep was mentioned. It was a very small piece, and it said that a namesake saved Mandeep from certain death. And I read, and both the writer and the doctor in me was intrigued, and it was enough to get my attention towards it. And so I started searching for the journalist who had written the piece, and she happened to be a friend of a friend. And
Okay. Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I searched around. I found one of my friends has been in the industry, and he put me on to her. And through her, I got in touch with the organization that had done the stem cell part. It's
Okay.
called DKMS BMST, and I met the people there. They are all in the book. I mean, if you read, you will. There are three people from the organization. I met them. I spoke to them, and through them, I got in touch with both Mandeeps. So it was like within a few weeks, I was speaking to both of them. And after that, the journey was, I wanted it to be authentic, and I wanted all the characters to be, um, fairly represented. So I met Mandeep in Bangalore. I met the entire DKMS team. I met Mandeep Singh in his village. I traveled to his village, and I saw
Yeah.
his college and everything. Whatever I have described, it's all first hand. Whatever I've seen there,
Wow.
and so the visit to his village turned out to be the turning point of the story, because that's where all the other things started coming into the story. All the environmental thing that I've mentioned, the role of NGOs, the cancer train, the Supreme Court judgment, the drug companies, the patent skill patients. So all that came about once I visited the village.
Hmm.
And after that, the story took a turn of its own, and it had a life of its own. And from a small story of two Mandeeps, it became a much, much larger, much larger story.
I'm just
So,
going to read out a
and
couple of comments here.
sure.
Nilsri has said brilliant tips. Sometimes we have to forget about the technicalities and concentrating on the intent of story and characters. She's talking about your tip of not making sure that you don't get too technical and focusing on the
Mm.
character. And we also had Afsana is here. Hi, Afsana. She's saying I can see HNS in paperback today. Yes, in the background she can see my book, so
Ah,
she's
yes.
talking about that. Ashish is saying wonderful. Hi, Ashish. Thank you. Okay. Yes, you were continuing with your answer. Please go ahead.
So that is it. So I actually met everybody either directly or online. Before I started writing, and I think it turned out the way it is because everybody had a lot to share with me, and they were kind enough to share with me all the details of their lives, very intimate details also. So it was a great experience for me, also an eye-opening experience.
And I loved. I'm giving out a little spoiler. I hope that is okay because towards the end of the story, we see the photographs of all the people that we have read
Yeah.
about in the book, and it makes it so much more personal and more inspiring because
Yeah.
till the time we are reading and we come to the last page, we think this is fiction, and then we realize, oh my god, this is real. If you somebody
Yeah.
who has not read the blog goes into the book, they start reading it as fiction, and
Mhm.
then by the end of it, they are like, no, 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 this is not fiction. This is something that actually happened with these two people, and they are two Mandeeps who have gone through this thing. And that was a very good inclusion, I must say,
It
because it
was by
added a
design.
personal touch.
No? Yeah. It was by design because originally the pictures were to be in the front, but then then I thought, we should let the imagination play till the end, and then uh, you know, after the story is complete, they can see the
That's
characters because
a
people
very,
also,
very
the readers also
yeah.
build the characters in their own minds about what they look like, how they act, and the readers have also a great imagination of their own in which they build the story. So I didn't want
I really like
that to be
that
lost.
idea. I really like that idea. And good call on not keeping the photographs first and keeping them at the end.
Uh, and I think the way you did that in H&H is also brilliant because the poem in the beginning. Uh, it's read by the reader in the normal way, and it's okay, it is there, but then you mentioned there that read it again after you have finished the book, and I did read it after I finished the book, and it's brilliant. I mean, it takes you back to all the stories that you have read in the book, so that's also very brilliant. I mean, it's
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you so
Love
much. Thank you so
it.
much. Since we are going to talk about my book now, let me just hold out this book that Sana was talking about. Yes, Heartstrings and Harmony, also called HNS, is now available in paperback and also in hardcover. So, uh, Sona has read it on Kindle, but now it is also
Yeah, but
available in paperback.
yeah, now I have to get this in hardcover or at least paperback.
Yes, please go on. You have read the book,
So
please.
yeah, so I how would you? I mean, should I read my favorite
Yes, yes.
poem there, or first shall I give you some
No, no, read
maybe a
up.
summary of what I think?
We have built up
Okay,
enough suspense. Let's read.
okay, okay. So it's a long poem right in the beginning, and the end also happens with this poem because if you click, you go back to it. And I'll read a few lines, and then maybe I'll share my thoughts on the book itself. So. Uh, so the poem goes, it's love when they make the time you spent apart one of the most memorable ones, rather than a painful experience. It's love when they make you laugh during times when you are both going through a tough phase. It's love when they think of being reunited with you during the toughest times of their lives, even if they can't be with you, and the hope of being together again keeps them going. It's love when they accept you back with a smile after falling out, even when you've caused them heartbreak and hurt. It's a bit long, but I will read the last few lines, which are like really, heartwarming. It's love when they let you go, changing the course of your entire life, welcome you with open arms. You've been through something that they've had to endure too. It's love when they find a way to help you heal when they're hurting as much as you are. It's love when they fulfill your wishes, even in your absence, with or without you by the side. So I mean, it summarizes almost all the stories in the book. And, what I'd like to share about H&H, true to its name, the stories tug at your heartstrings. I love the format. I mean, you have poetry. No, first of all, you have a prompt, which prompts the, book itself, the story itself. Then you have the poetry, the evergreen songs. They are in harmony with the stories, and these stories are, they're easy to relate to. They might as well be some events in your own lives. So that's what makes them special. They are not something that happens to other people. It's something that you can actually relate to. What I liked most was the positive vibe throughout the book. even the unpleasant situations, the sadness, or whatever you're going through, that comes back with a twist, which is positive, and it gives you hope. So it's very pleasant to read. The story size is superb. I mean, like, you feel like finishing it because it's just 4 pages, and then you want to read the next one also because that is also 4 pages. So you want to read these stories one after the other. So it's wonderful, especially the messages in all stories. I like the ones where you are talking about loneliness in the cities. These are real things. I mean, a city full of people, and yet, these things. I mean, I really loved it.
Thank you so much. Uh, yes, I think we
So
lost you
I
for a bit. Can you hear me
have,
and see me?
yeah, I can see you.
Okay, okay.
So, in all, I mean, it was a totally enjoyable, pleasant book, and all the messages were really, they touch you. So, I have a few questions for you as well. I think the first question is, what made you write this book in this form? So, there's a prompt, and then there is poetry, and then there is the story, with a message. What made you decide on going with this format?
Okay, first of all, short fiction was something I had not written in a while. In the past few years, I've only written novels and poetry books. And the last short fiction book I wrote was in December 2021,
Okay.
and it's been appreciated a lot. But I felt like that was missing from my body of work. So I wanted to venture back into short fiction, and in June 2023, I was part of a community of bloggers where we were given
Okay.
weekly prompts to write something,
Okay.
and
Okay.
one of the prompts that came in the weekly newsletter was write a story based on inspired by your favorite song. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, this is
Okay.
the perfect opportunity to start going back to short fiction, and
Yeah.
that too combining something which is very close to my heart, because other than books, music is something that I'm very much attached to. It brings me happiness.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, and this felt like the perfect opportunity to combine the two things, write a story based on your favorite song. So I wrote that story, and it was well received. People liked it. And then the idea was sparked in my head that why not, why
Fine.
stop at one story?
Okay.
Why not, yeah, why not keep going? And then from that story onwards, whenever I came across a writing prompt from the very, and every prompt that I read from then on, the first thought that came to my head was, can I convert this prompt into a story which is inspired by a song, or can I weave a story around a particular song related to this prompt? And that's how it came about. And another thing that inspired me was that somewhere, I don't remember who said it or where I heard it, but somewhere I heard in a conversation with me or in an interview, I don't even remember that, but somebody said that combining two forms of art is not really a good thing,
Oh,
and I took it very personally. Yeah,
okay. Okay.
मुझे लगा that's not true, because I have been doing it for a while. Because I listen to music when I'm doing everything, not just not just working out or cooking. I also listen to music while I'm doing my hobbies, like while I'm coloring or while I'm reading. So it's definitely possible to use two forms of art and combine them to form something beautiful together. And that's how I was like, no, I can combine music and I can combine writing also. I can do both the things. So yeah, that's how the stories came about. In fact, songs and music have been a part of almost all my books. For the last four books, have music as a very integral part of this way the book develops.
Okay.
Both my novels that I have written, in that the characters also, their story and their bonding develops over the course of their love story because of music. And then
Mm.
my previous book before this, Knight in Shining Armor, it's a poetry book, and in that I have given the reader suggestion that with each poetry you can listen to this song while reading that poem. So I have
Okay.
At the beginning of the poem, I've said best combined with this particular song, best paired with this particular song. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay. I
I
must say,
wanted to continue that.
seamless. It is it's seamless. The song takes the story forward, and that's like brilliant. Very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to hear that.
I could,
And so yeah,
even hear the song in the background, and when I was
so
reading, wonderful. It was
that's
a,
so nice to hear, because yes, I have tried very hard and very consciously to use the lyrics of the song, which weave together with the way the story is moving ahead.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. So
Um, Yeah, so while that is like brilliant, but your title is also really good because it captures the essence of all the stories. In fact, the common factor is that it tugs at your heartstrings. So, what made you decide on that title, or did you think of other titles?
so my regular readers and those who have known me for a while through social media, they know how obsessed I am with an appropriate title, and also how obsessed I am with the acronym of my book titles. If you see with my previous book title, Knight in Shining Armor, I have done a wordplay where I have used the word knight instead of the usual knight
Right.
that
Okay.
that comes in,
Yes.
comes to save you and all that. I
Okay.
have
Okay.
used the Rat Wala knight in it, and
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I have done a wordplay with that. And
Okay.
the book before that was Love and Melodrama, where
Okay.
I have converted the word mellow into it's not melodrama the entire word, it's
Okay.
mellow,
Okay.
MELLOW, mellow. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
the
Okay.
that's the kind
Wonderful.
of wordplay I do with my titles.
Nice, nice,
So
nice.
it's a thing that I do. And for this particular book also, I had a few titles like that, tongue twisters or
Mm,
double meaning words.
mm,
I wanted to
mm.
do that with this one
Okay,
also. And
okay,
yes, I did have a few titles in mind like that. But I was like, no, it is taking away from the essence of the stories and the book. Let's not
okay.
focus on that aspect of having a book title like that, where you could
Yeah,
know
yeah.
the acronym would be nice and it would be a tongue twister. And I wanted to stick
Okay.
to something very simple, but yet it conveys the essence of all the stories. So that's
Yeah,
how
it
heartstrings and
does that. It does that beautifully.
so yeah, that's how the title came about. And yes, I do have a few people in my circle. They are my beta readers and they are my friends also, whom I ask for suggestions when when I shared those book title options with them, and they were like, "No, please,
Okay.
Manali, don't do this. ये ज़्यादा हो रहा है अब.
Okay.
You don't need to do this with every book."
No,
So yeah,
having such friends also, it adds to and
yeah. So I am also glad I listened to them and I did not stick to my own tradition of having tongue twister
okay.
titles.
Okay.
We have Manoj here who's saying, correct, it's an awesome feeling that we cannot express in words. Becoming writer is an opportunity and a divine feeling. Yes, thank you, Manoj.
True, true, true that.
Okay, now we come to my favorite part of the episode, which is the rapid fire round. So now how we'll do it is we'll go back and forth. One
Okay.
question I will ask and one question you will ask. Okay.
Okay, okay.
My first question
Mm.
to you, because I love asking such questions to the creators of such
Okay.
stories.
Okay. Okay.
My first question to you is:
Fingers crossed.
out of the two Mandeeps in your book, who would you rather spend a day with and why?
Oh, this is a trick question. And to be fair, to be fair, I did spend a day each with each Mandeep when I was interviewing them, and I must say, in their own ways, both were excellent. I mean, both are very frank with their opinions, and they share in beautiful words. So. Uh, I've been asked this earlier also. Since the book is Mandeep Meets Mandeep, who is the protagonist who is the hero? And my answer is the same. It is both. Because if you see the cover of the book also, it says Mandeep and Mandeep in equal effect. So there is no one Mandeep better than the other. Both are heroes in their own right. Now, even if you look at the visuals, I have made sure that they are both equally represented, because in their own way, both of them have overcome, certain things in their lives, and, successfully, traverse that whole path. So in my view, I think it is both. Diplomatic answer.
You dodged the bullet.
Okay.
I would say I will spend the day with Mandeep Man because he's from metro city first of all, so, and I
Yeah.
would love to explore Bengaluru with him. And also because he's a travel junkie like
He's
me, he loves traveling.
travel
So
junkie and he's a foodie, and he knows all the best places in Bengaluru where you can go and eat. So
yeah, a perfect city guide
yeah,
he will be.
yeah, yes, yes, absolutely. So now it's my turn to ask. Which See, all your stories are beautiful, but I want to know which is your favorite story from your book.
That is also trick question. I'm going to stick with the first story that started the journey
Okay.
on the prompt that write a story inspired by your favorite song, and that is the story. It's this intoxicating evening, which is based on the song "Ye Sham Mastani."
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a
The story
good one.
talks about the three generations coming together because of a beautiful boom box that they have come across in the
Mm.
house that they are
Mm.
trying to sell.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I would have found it very difficult to choose a good one. I mean, the best one, because there are so many which are,
Thank you. Thank you.
really, really good and brilliant. So,
Yes. My next question to you is in the climax of the story, where we come to the last page, you have written not the end. Please explain that to us. Can we expect a sequel?
yeah, so there are two parts to this. Yes, a sequel is possible because we want to know what happens to them 10 years down the line. I
Hmm.
mean, since they have now both of them are doing fine, living their lives and everything, and maybe 10 years down the line they have a different trajectory which can be spoken about.
Yes.
We don't know where it's going. I mean, where their lives are going right now. So, yeah, that's possible, but more than that, not the end also means that when there was a time, there were multiple times in Mandeep's life where it was the end.
Hmm.
It was almost the end for him. Like, people had given up, he had given up, doctors had given up. And every time something or the other made sure, it was all destiny. Something made sure that he passed that phase and came out of it. So, be it
Hmm.
getting the free medications, without which he would have given up and died like the rest of the people, or be it getting that, donor in time where he was spiraling out. So it was the end many times, but this was not the end because he managed to get out yet again.
Yeah.
The same thing with Mandeep Man, because he also had his own set of challenges and he came out victorious. And both of them, uh, they refused to make it the end. So
Wonderful.
that's why I say it's not the end. It's the next phase of their life.
Okay.
So okay, now my next question to you is: are any of these stories your own real life incidents? Because many times I felt, okay, I have been through this, I have seen people doing this, so I want to know if any of these are your real life incidents.
More than a couple of them, or at least a couple of them, are inspired by something that has happened to me personally. One of the stories talks about two friends who are trying to catch a bus and they are on the way to college. And one of them is inside the bus already, and it's raining heavily, and the bus has already started moving. One of them puts out a hand to, help the other friend
Right,
inside the
right.
bus. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that has happened with me, but not in that particular or dramatic way that it
Okay.
is told in the story. We were leaving from a coaching class, and we were on the way home. Me and my another a friend of mine, and while we were walking towards the bus stop, the bus had already started moving. So both of
Okay.
us had to actually run and catch the bus. She got into the bus first and she put out her hand
Oh,
and pulled me
okay.
inside, and that's how we
Okay.
got the bus. So,
Okay.
yes, that
Okay.
particular incident and a bit of that story is inspired from real life. There's one more story where we are talking about two brothers, Manav and Mayank, and one of
Mm,
them is a little,
mm,
the younger brother
mm,
is a little
mm.
mischievous and naughty, and the
Okay.
elder brother is an A grade student,
Yeah. Yeah.
ideal bacha,
Yes. Yes. This
teacher's
happens with
pet, and
everybody.
overall good bacha. सबका सबका प्यारा, सबका दुलारा.
Yeah, right.
So
Right.
that has actually inspired my own life. I am the younger brother, and
Oh.
the elder brother is my elder sibling,
But
my
you are
elder
so
brother. So
अच्छा बच्चा. At the end of the day, everybody is अच्छा बच्चा only. I think.
so yeah, these are the two stories I can remember. But yes, there
Okay.
are many more that incidents from the stories in the books that I have taken from my own either personal experience, or I have had a third person perspective of those incidents.
Mm-hmm. Right. Great.
Okay, my next question to you is since this is a medical fiction and you are also a doctor, I want to know from you that would a non medico have found the right sources and the right kind of words to write such a story as easily? Why or why not?
See, it all depends on how motivated you are,
Hmm.
because the it as I said in the beginning, it's not a story which is about a disease. It's a
Hmm.
story about two people, and
Hmm.
that story is something that anybody can write. They have to
Hmm.
be they have to feel strongly about it, and then they will go ahead and write. Because so I don't think you need to be a medico to write a story like this. In fact, my first book is science fiction and mythology. So I'm not, while I'm a science enthusiast, but mythology and history is something new to me. But I went ahead and did a lot of research, and I because I felt very strongly about that subject. So it depends on how motivated the author is, and I'm sure anybody could have written this because it's not about the disease; it's about the people.
Wonderfully answered. Thank you so much.
Um, So I think my next question to you is an easy one actually, because I want to know what motivates you as a writer. Because for me it was just two incidents that made me write
Hmm.
about those incidents. But as a writer of many books, and as a serious author, what motivates you?
I think just this particular thing that अगर मैं ये नहीं करूंगी तो मुझे और क्या आता है. I mean something that I not only enjoy but it also helps me earn a bit of money in the process. That's my biggest motivation. So I think that works wonderfully for me. And other than that, I look at people who are in the same field, who are in the same kind of creative works that I do. I look at the
Yeah.
content they create. I look at the kind of
Mm.
inspiring work that they do. I think that
Mm.
that also works to push me. And
Yeah.
being a part of such communities, talking to such people regularly, I think that's the biggest motivation one can get
Yeah.
to keep
It
doing,
comes
to
from
keep
within, is
creating.
what you're saying. Yeah.
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 Yes.
Great. Great.
Okay. My next question to you is: are there any chances of this story getting a screen adaptation? And if yes, who would play the role of the two Mandeeps?
Okay, so I don't know if there are chances or no, but I've been told that the story would make sense in a screen adaptation. I have been told by many people. So, okay, I mean, even if it does not, there's no harm in thinking that, it
We
will.
manifest.
So,
We manifest.
Sure. So, so I think if it were an OTT, then I think Mandeep Singh will be Gulshan Devaya, and Mandeep Man will be Ayushman Khurrana. I think this
Oh, wow.
their the demeanor and the way they look, even looks wise, I think these are the people who would do justice. And if it on big screen, it would be probably Karthik Aryan or Vicky Kaushal as Mandeep Singh, and maybe Shahid Kapoor as, or even Ayushmann. Both are like
Those are
the
great
ideal.
choices. I'm
Uh,
I'm a fan of Gulshan Devaya, and I think he would be wonderful in the OTT adaptation.
oh
He would be
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, even the looks and everything, I
Yeah,
think it would.
yeah.
So this is what I think.
Okay.
Let's see. My next question to you is about your upcoming work. So, because I enjoyed this book so much, I'm looking forward to your next work, and I would want to know what are you thinking of writing, and what genre, and where are you at it now?
So, for the past few years, ever since the lockdown of 2020, it's been like a personal goal that I will at least put out 2 books a year.
Oh,
Since one book has already happened this year, I do want to put out another book by the end of 2024, and it's also been a goal to put out at least one poetry book every year. So now that I'm done with fiction, the next one is definitely going to be poetry.
oh, okay, wonderful.
Okay, that brings me to my last question for you, and which is, since you have written the book, I'm sure you had something in mind when you began writing and when you finished writing it. So, what was the aim? What is that aim that you wanted to achieve, and did you achieve it through this book?
Oh yes, I think when I started, it was more out of the intrigue about the story. So it
Hmm.
was to Mandeep's, you know. So that was the beginning. But by the time I finished, I definitely wanted to do or contribute in a small way
Hmm.
to the cause, because every life saved out of this effort will be worth it. Will make the entire effort worth it.
Hmm.
So, in fact, when you look at the book, I mean, if you see the back has a QR code, uh,
Yes.
which can be used to sign up as a three-step process, easily sign up as a blood stem cell donor. So,
Oh,
we
wow.
see that most people who are regular blood donors also, they normally come forward for this
Hmm.
also. uh, Even things like the bookmark also has a QR code.
QR code
uh,
to become a
yeah, so
stem cell donor.
yeah, so the effort is to get awareness about this cause, which is blood stem cell donation, and that I'm trying to do through talks, events, in colleges and other places. So that is one part of the thing, and the other part is to somehow address. I don't know, I'm too small for that, but somehow address the larger problem of the environment that these people are struggling with. So I think the biggest thing was to get awareness
Hmm.
on the preventive aspects, which were the big problem for Mandeep Singh, and the curative aspects, which
Hmm.
Mandeep Man embodies. So I think that's the effort, and the effort is going to be constant. I want to contribute in my own small way, and let's see how it goes. And I would thank people like you for supporting this whole cause, through your channels. So
Yeah,
that was important.
I believe you have achieved it to a very good level through the story and through the QR code and everything else that you are doing. I think that's a great effort and what a wonderful initiative. We need more authors like
Yeah,
you
we
and
need
people like you to
more
spread
Mandeep.
awareness.
We need more Mandeeps also. So that's how I'm going about it, and I just hope it leads somewhere good at the end of the day.
It will, I'm sure. It has already, reached people like me and the many readers who are reading the book, and I'm sure they are also going to talk about it and spread awareness.
That's the intent.
Thank you.
That's the intent.
That brings us to the end of today's episode, and we have a few people who have appreciated the effort that you are putting in through the book. Nilshi has
Thank you.
said, amazing choice, ma'am, and Poonam is saying, well addressed.
Thank you. Thank you all for the kind words.
Uh,
Nice
Anilshi
to
is
meet
also
you all
appreciating
here.
the entire session. She's saying this has been a to the point session, amazing questions and equally well answered. Thank you so much, Nilshri.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Uh, I want to end this episode by thanking you for being a guest on this show. It has been a very good conversation, not only related to writing, but also about what we can do as writers by, writing such stories which can help create awareness about issues like this. So, thank you for
Thank you
being
so
a guest on this
so
show.
much for, yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It has been wonderful. It was lovely speaking with you.
My pleasure, and I hope we can do this again in the future with two of other books of us.
Sure, done.
Bye. Have a great weekend. Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Thank you.